Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Today, we have 3 news stories for you. In the first one, you'll meet a bad client who was caught up in karma. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Don't stiff a tow truck driver. It's bad parenting. Not me, but my brother a couple years ago. He's a mechanic and tow truck operator in a small town. A while back, he gets a call for a job. A guy wants to buy his son a used pickup truck, but it's in another town and needs some work. The client says it's a lot of work apparently, but it should be a fun dad/son project. He hires my brother to pick it up. My brother gets out there, and it's in surprisingly good condition. The big thing is the tires are shot. He tows it to his shop, calls the dad, and explains he actually got a pretty good deal. Brother offers to install some new tires and do a little minor work, and the truck should be ready to drive. Dad happily agrees and gives the work the go-ahead. 2 days later, the truck is running. My brother takes it over to the house and leaves the bill on the seat. 5 or 6 days go by with no word from Dad. So my brother calls to ask how the truck's running. Great, says the dad. So my brother asks about expecting payment. Dad says he'll be in first thing in the morning. Next morning rolls around, no dad. Same thing for a few more days. My brother reaches him again, and now he gets a little runaround, with Dad trying to say the truck's not running so well. Dad doesn't really know vehicles, though, so his bluff isn't really working. My brother says he's willing to work on other problems or recommend other mechanics, but he still needs payment for work already delivered. At this point, Dad starts mumbling something about how he won't be scammed and hangs up. Dad ducks my brother's calls for a week, so my brother calls the local police to explain what he's going to do. Then calls me to ask if I want to see something funny. I say sure, and he picks me up and takes me to the guy's house on a Friday afternoon. The truck's parked on the street and has been driven recently. Police car pulls up, at which point my brother says hi to them, then starts loading the truck onto his tow truck. After a few minutes of beeping, teenage son comes out of the house, freaking out. He's a brand new driver and thinks he parked wrong or something, but my brother explains that his dad didn't pay. Son goes inside to call his dad. My brother loops around the block for a better angle, then backs the truck completely into the driveway. He pulls out, lifts the truck on jacks, removes the tires, then lowers the whole thing onto a couple of 2x4s, then puts another bill on the windshield for the time he spent at the house. We all then leave, and my brother closes up his shop before hearing anything. He doesn't hear anything until Wednesday next week, and it's a call from Mom. Apparently, Dad spent a few days lying to his family, saying my brother was trying to scam them, but eventually fessed up. Mom was fuming because her car was blocked in the garage the whole time by the truck. She came down in person and paid my brother cash for everything, plus more to come back and reinstall the tires. The best part, unfortunately, I didn't get to see. But Mom made Dad apologize to my brother in front of their son when he reinstalled the tires. Sweet. I can only imagine the dad's face and body language as he apologized. It's appalling what some people will do to others just to save some capital. And our second story. My boss wanted me to train my replacement, but I didn't work there anymore. I used to work at a grocery store back in 2016. I was 16 or 17 at the time. I don't work retail anymore, but I wanted to share this story I still remember to this day. It was a pretty normal night right before the end of my shift. I was one of the few closers at my store, so it was just me, my supervisor, and a cashier. I worked the self-checkout/customer service desk. My supervisor had just collected the tills and was in the back counting, and I was just starting my rounds to take back the non-perishables that were left at the registers. I also might add that our store had terrible camera placement. Basically, it showed all the registers and the supervisor's office door, which is where the safe was. This is important later. After putting up all the items that were left at the registers, I did my final checks of the store to make sure there were no misplaced or damaged items on the floor. I find a case of beer that was leaking in our beer and wine section, and since I wasn't sure how damaged the bottom of the cardboard case was, I had to drag it to the front so I could inform my supervisor about the damaged item before taking it to the back. We kept a cart full of damaged items to be taken out by the morning crew. Since the supervisor's office is locked while they're counting the tills, I call over to her and let her know there was a damaged case of beer and I was taking it to the back. She responds with an absent, "Okay, sounds good." So I take it to the back, place it with the rest of the damaged items, and go back to the front to see if there's anything else my supervisor needs me to do before I clock out. There isn't. Next couple of days are fine as I finish up the week and wait for the next week's schedule to be posted, and I find out that I'm not scheduled for the next week. I figure there must have been a mistake as there was someone working at the same grocery store who shared my first name. I go upstairs to my manager's office and ask him about the schedule and why I wasn't scheduled. He responds with a, "Oh, my bad. I forgot to tell you that you're suspended until the investigation is over. By the way, can you train your replacement today on the self-checkout/customer service desk?" Me, confused and annoyed at the moment, didn't really pay attention to the second part of his comment. I asked him what he was talking about. My manager, "We caught you stealing that case of beer you took to the back, and until the police investigation is complete, you won't be working here anymore. Please turn in your uniform, name tag, and badge." I am furious, but I decide that I would just go with a bit of MC in this situation. "Well, boss man, I took the damaged case of beer to the back to be thrown out in the morning as per procedure. But since I won't be working here anymore, I guess you'll just have to find someone else to train my replacement since I clearly can't be trusted." I was the only person who could train someone for the customer service desk other than him. His jaw dropped. The look on his face was priceless as I took off my uniform and handed him my name tag and override card. I then proceeded to walk out, get in my car, and drive home. About 2 years later, I joined the Army, and I'm going for a job that required a security clearance. Guess what shows up? That suspension with an unfinished police report and the tapes from the security camera. I sit there with my interviewer as we watch the tape together, clearly showing that I did not steal anything. Needless to say, I was approved for my clearance. I ask if I can get a copy of the tape, and my interviewer agrees. It took 2 years, but I finally had the evidence I needed to sue for wrongful termination. But as the time is well over the statute of limitations, I'm unable to actually do anything about it. Either way, I decide to go pay my old workplace a visit over my Christmas block leave, and a couple people recognize me, including my old boss. He tells me that thieves like me aren't welcome in his store, and that I need to leave or he'd be calling the police. I told him to call them, and that his claim would surely hold up when I showed them a copy of the video footage of me stealing. The store had one of my favorite muffins, and honestly, I really wanted one since they're only made there. The police got called and did nothing, and I got 3 muffins free of charge thanks to my favorite supervisor. Worth it. And our last story. Don't become irate over $45. I was renting a condo from a guy who at first didn't seem too bad. I'm in the military, and he was flexible on when I could move in and hours he would show me the place. I was there for about a year and had to break the contract early due to new orders in the military sending me out of the city I was in, which in the U.S. is mandatory for all landlords and rental agencies. I moved out of the place over a month ago now, and as we agreed upon, he would deduct a cleaning service and the last month's electric bill, so I get about $135 less from my security deposit. No problem. End of story. But this morning, I get a text message from him saying he needs $45 more for last month's bills. I'm at work, so I see and quickly respond that we agreed to $135, and I'm not just going to give him more. I'm busy at work, mind you, and he gets back to me with screenshots of the invoice for the bills and requests the money on Venmo. About 10 minutes of me not responding because I'm busy, he proceeds to send several text messages saying, "Fine, be that way," and "I should have kept the security deposit, you GI blah blah blah." The one text that actually got under my skin was, "I can't wait until companies look your rental history up. I'm going to strike you for non-payment of last month's rent. That's going on your credit report." All these texts came in under an hour after my first response. Well, once I finally checked my phone, I'm surprised and quickly upset. I'm not a liar, and I've always paid my debts. So I take my lunch break to send screenshots to the condominium board/property agency to report him for harassment. And the woman who was working is amazing. She was disgusted with his attitude, and we talk about my stay at the residence. I mentioned the floors were warped, and in the kitchen it was pretty bad in particular. So this is her idea, really, but she then emails me the city laws on landlord-tenant relations and building code. So far, I filed 2 different complaints with the city. One on him as a landlord and human being, and being I'm already out of the area, I don't know if it'll go anywhere. That second report is now going to a city inspector to survey the condo on keeping up proper flooring, which, to be honest, I should have reported to someone while I was there. But I'm busy and an easygoing guy who didn't want to take the time to start a formal inquiry and have to possibly move out for repairs. He, in all likelihood, would have to replace a good amount of floor space and spend way more money. If someone owes you $45, at least give them a little while to get you the money. It may save you more than just what's owed. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.